what ends up happening is this takes off. And it takes off in ways that I imagine maybe surprised some of the people on the team. Do you want to talk about how big of a viral moment this was?
It was the first. It was the first real moment. It truly put Tiny Desk on the map. And I always say, if you ask me what Tiny Desk is, I point them to this because it's T-Pain. And if you know T-Pain, you know when you listen to his music, his voice is altered through auto-tune.
Auto-tune. Most auto-tune, singer of the early aughts.
He helped to pioneer auto-tune. Not necessarily the first one to use it, but he was the first one to use it the way he used it, and it changed the music industry. And what my colleague Franny challenged him to do was to come in and do it without it, perform without auto-tune. And a lot of production, a lot of back and forth, he agreed to do it. And in that, when you take that away, there was this discovery that this dude, does not need auto-tune. He can
a generational
really
talent when it comes to singing, yeah.
He utilized it as a tool, and it helped sort of, it was his identity, but in that he just sat and sang, and it was completely stripped, not even drums, it was keys and that voice. And it was an eye-opening moment for the music industry, NPR, culture at large. It was, it changed the game for us.
She keep taking shots to the head, and I know that I can't keep up. One more drink and I'ma be dead. You gon' see me walk out of this club. Whoa.
To me, that's a building moment, right? It's a building moment for a bunch of different ways. One of the key ways is people start to see T-Pain differently, but I think also people start to see Tiny Desk differently. Just the idea of like this space is for different people than it had traditionally been for. I think the first Tiny Desk concert that I really connected to was like Fantastic Negrito, which was like maybe a year later, and that was an incredible concert. But it takes building and it takes time to, especially in an institution like NPR, to say, right, you know what, this place can offer something to hip-hop fans, can offer something to Black audiences, and we are going to use it as such. Talk to me a little bit about those internal battles of trying to, get the story of Tiny Desk to be different.
Yeah, I think, again, going back to what belongs, traditionally NPR on the air, it's white and middle-aged, right? And they were doing this thing at the desk for so long, and when hip-hop, R&B, flavor started to infiltrate and the audience started to react to those contentious situations in those boardrooms, they began to ease up, because it isn't just, we don't have to just do what eases our listeners' minds, you know what I mean? It's okay if our listening audience doesn't understand what's happening at the desk, because therein lies this YouTube audience that began to explode, the most diverse audience that NPR has ever seen. Our YouTube audience is over 50% people of color at this point. And we have yet to bridge that gap between the YouTube audience and our listening audience, but we still have an audience that NPR has always wanted. These young people of color, this true diversity, right? Like diversity in action. It wasn't, sure it was strategized, but I don't know how far up the strategy started. It started with people like myself and my colleagues. So yeah, there were times when I heard, no, there's no way. I go back to this performance by Gucci Mane, right? Gucci Mane, for those of you who don't know, he is Atlanta trapper, you know what I mean? Hardcore hip-hop, street hip-hop. He's a street rapper. And Franny, the woman who produced the T-Pain concert, she invited Gucci Mane.
2 AK-47s and a blowtorch. A couple jackets knocking hard on my front porch. A couple old schools in my backyard. If I don't know you, I'ma serve you through my burglar bars.
Now, Gucci Mane just months prior, he had just been released from federal prison, but he served his time, and he makes great music. And there was a real internal battle at NPR. There were people who were there who did not want that to happen. But I wouldn't say it's one of the best Tiny Desks of all time because we hadn't quite mastered how to do hip hop at the Tiny Desk. But it was proof of concept that there was a way. You know, there were pieces of that show that really, really helped to shape what we do now, especially with hip hop. And also, again, it belonged.